just for the audience, it's Ian is a entrepreneur who has made a company that tests people for immunoglobulins versus the COVID-19. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're testing neutralizing antibodies against COVID-19 and been doing it for a while now, 9 months.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening. What's the news?
So lately, a lot of the people that have been wanting to get tested are those who have received a vaccination,
Mhm.
and they've been wanting to know some sort of definitive proof of their immune status. And so I've started testing people, and it's kind of cool because some of the people I've tested had a sample before they were vaccinated, so you can see the pre and post vaccination antibody levels.
That's cool.
And yeah, and the vaccines are, really effective. It's pretty impressive. So after one dose with the vaccine, you can generate an antibody response that's comparable to a natural infection. And that's with, so I've tested people who have had the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. Nobody with the Johnson and Johnson vaccine yet, though. But I am looking, and if anybody out there has received that vaccine or is scheduled to, definitely contact me because I've been making this chart where I put all of the antibody levels side by side, and then it's color coded so you can see the response, and also a few people who have had natural infections, so you can really see how they compare in a head-to-head matchup.
It's quite a wild thing you're doing. I must say, I tip my hat to you and give you a feather for your hat too, because it's like it's no small thing. You're entrepreneurial and in pushing out the scientific frontiers a little bit. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think, so I about what was that, end of January, so we're now mid-March, but end of January, I published that direct comparison between the natural infection, Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. And I just had two people with the natural infection, two people with the Moderna vaccine, and two with the Pfizer vaccine. But that was actually the first kind of direct comparison between the antibody responses that I'm aware of. So I kind of beat the big people once again.
Yeah.
And really, what I think it is a sign of how effective citizen science can be, where I'm I created the system where anybody can sign up and get your antibody test. I tell you your results, but then it's in the capacity of a research study. So then I take the de-identified data and I just publish it on this open access dashboard on my website or on the CureHub website. And with citizen science, you give people an opportunity to participate in, the scientific process. They get something out of it by getting their results. And then I'm not in most studies, what you're going to do is you're going to say enroll 100 people, and then you're going to wait until the last person's been enrolled and you've collected their sample, and then you run all of the samples. And so then there's a delay, right, between when the samples are coming in and then when you're actually kind of pushing the results out into the public view. But the way I'm doing it is like as the samples come in, I run them and then I just add the data into the dashboard or whatever. So anybody can see as the data is accumulating.
So this may be a bit technical for the audience, but do you have some kind of institutional review board?
I do. So I went through that process at the very start. There's different IRBs is the
Right.
acronym for them. So there's different kind of commercial IRBs out there.
Huh.
And so I submitted a protocol. I submitted all of the study materials,
Hmm.
which was basically a questionnaire screening form. And they approved it. I have a lot of experience in clinical trials. I used to consent people and work in that field, so I was, aware of what needed to be done. It was not easy. It
No, it's
was,
no small thing. It's quite a chore, and I'm impressed. It's like I say, you've done the hurdles, you've gone through all kind of gamuts, and entrepreneurial spirit. I tip my hat to you essentially because it's like I recognize the difficulties involved here, and it's like, and that's not just your, doing all that stuff, and it's like in the context of, so I can take chances in the marketplace with the people, and it's no small thing. It's a very big thing. It's a risky business.
yeah, yeah. It was not easy. It's tedious. It's not difficult in the sense of being like intellectually challenging. It's more of the number of hoops you got to jump through, and it's a lot of paperwork, and you just kind of have to chip away at it and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So
Like that.
that
It's
that
like it. The intellectual challenge is the small part, as we agree. It is
yeah.
bureaucratic and uncertainty and then anxiety associated with that in the marketplace. It's like it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and like I say, I am very impressed by the the enterprising effort. Okay,
Well, I appreciate that. Uh,
yeah,
Gives me something to do.
and I yeah, right, and it's like this. So, are you learning anything interesting? What are you learning?
So some of the interesting things I've seen are that you can have a husband and wife pair where one of them gets COVID and the other one doesn't somehow. These are people that live together. They're not socially distancing from each other. Somehow the transmission is not 100% in that kind of close quarter situation. Um, the other thing is the vaccines, like I said earlier, they generate one shot generates an antibody response that's comparable to natural infection. Um, but that's not true for everybody. There have been a few people I've tested that they got a shot of the vaccine and they did not have the strongest antibody response
Hmm.
after just the first shot. Those people, I have their second sample after their second vaccination, and I haven't run it yet. That's something I'm planning to do this week. So it'll be interesting to see how the booster affects
Right.
those things.
No, I'm very curious, and it's like, do you have a large N number population of people under study?
Currently, no, not really. There's 40 participants.
Hmm.
Of of the 40, there's some that have submitted multiple samples, usually after they get sick or
Right.
uh, they had submitted their first sample after they got sick, and then time passed, and they want to know what's going on with their antibody levels, and then also the like I said earlier, the people who have gotten a vaccination, they
So
want to see the change.
it's interesting because, like, do you have information pertaining to, did the person think they were infected, and did they get reinfected? And it's
That
a small N number is tough, man. I get it.
No, no, I have not seen that. And I I'm skeptical of that happening, actually, based off of what I've seen. And I think that, like I said, one vaccination generates an antibody response comparable to a natural infection. So one shot might be good enough. I don't know how much you pay attention to the scientific literature kind of um, debate, but there was a debate about should we have just gone through and given everybody one shot, and then once everybody's gotten one, come back and give them a second shot, or
Right.
rather than doing two shots for everybody. Um, I'd say the small amount of data I have suggests that it might have been a good strategy to just do the first shot and then proceed with the second once everybody's been vaccinated once.
It's kind of
And
like,
I've seen,
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, and I've seen data. There's a pretty good study published in the last month or so, looking at people who had gotten COVID and then they received one vaccination, and they have an antibody response that is comparable to somebody who has gotten two vaccinations. So if you've gotten sick and you get one vaccine, then you're pretty good. It's not the official recommendation from the CDC yet, but the data suggests it should be.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Best Medicine Podcast with Bradley H. Werrell, DO. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe below, either over there or over there. Also, if you're interested in a medical consultation with myself, there's also information below.